Welcome, audience, to episode 2. One of my goals for this platform is truly to create an avenue to discuss issues we face in life, uplift people, and educate. As a culture, we tend to have the mentality of being strong all the time, especially during difficult times, which is unhealthy. This episode is an extension of a previous discussion on the overview of grief. It allows my Ezioma, aka our Auntie Az, discuss her experience with death and encourage someone experiencing loss of any kind. Every grief experience is different, but we want you to know you're not alone. Please don't forget to answer the quiz and share your feedback. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Auntie Az, as we call her. But I just wanted to start off with welcoming my Niger Baby in Texas audience. I have a very special guest today. I call her Auntie Az, but the world calls her Vanessa. We're going to be having a discussion of Ezioma'S grief experience, and really our goal is to be able to share with others who are either going through grief or who have encountered issues with grief. We just want to be a place to encourage. This platform is really about encouraging people and giving them solutions to issues, or at least letting them know that they're not alone. Right.
Yes.
So I have Ezioma on the line with me. She is a dear family member. She's my first cousin's daughter, so she is very, very special to me and our family. And we thought it would be great together to have this discussion. And so we'll go ahead and kick this off. So, and I hope this is a great topic for everybody, and they'll find some value in it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Ezioma, can you give everyone, or Vanessa, can you give everyone an understanding of your name? Because one of the goals on this platform is to be able to get people to understand our names, what they mean, and just to get them to feel our heritage a little bit. So if you don't mind sharing the audience,
Sure.
the meaning of your name, and give them a little bit of background about yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Ezioma. It's spelled Ezioma. So there are 6 letters, and I guess you can divide it into 2 different words. So the first 3 letters, Ezi, means it can mean different things, but in context of my name, home, your Az is like your family, like your surrounding, and then Oma means good. So if you put them together, Ezioma, it means like good home, good family. Yeah.
And she's from a great family.
Yes.
She's from a great family. So
thank you.
Yeah. So good home. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. And by the way, Ezioma is the first of her siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So she's also what we call an Ada in the family. So just like myself, I'm the first daughter. So by us being first daughters in our families, especially amongst Igbos, we're also called the Adas as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to share that as well. So Izzy, give them a little bit of context about who you are, your background, what you do, all that good stuff.
Sure. So just like you said, I'm the first of 6. So there are 6 kids. My parents had 6 kids. So I went to all my pre-university education was done in Nigeria. So I grew up in Owerri, Imo State. Went to secondary school, which is the equivalent of high school, in Port Harcourt, River State. And after my secondary school education, I moved to the United States in 2013 for my university education. So I went to school in Maryland, USA, I studied biological science for my bachelor's. And after that, I worked for a little bit while preparing to apply to medical school. Then I started medical school in Mississippi, USA, 2019. And I'm still currently a medical student, the third year medical student. So that is
Yay.
my background.
Yeah, more medical folks in the family. We love it. We love it.
Yes.
I mean, we love everybody's profession in the family, but there's nothing better than having a doctor in your family. We love doctors
Yes.
in our families. So,
Yes.
PhD, but the doctor is the more important one. Okay. To my
Yeah.
Niger American folks, you can see my accent has changed more. So just to let you people feel the importance of the doctor. So,
Yes.
but I would say that AZ also loves YouTube.
Oh, yes, I
We
do.
we connect on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are always talking about. Did you listen to this? Did you see that? Did you see this? So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that she loves doing on her free time when she's not studying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so we're from a pretty large family, so
Yes. Yes.
it's nice to be able to have these relationships with our families and just to keep the tradition going. So,
Yeah.
all righty. So let's start getting into the meat of why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as I mentioned earlier, the focus and the objective of this was really to talk about grief,
Mm-hmm.
to talk about it from your experience, someone who's actually experienced it, felt it, dealt
Mm-hmm.
with it, lived
Mm-hmm.
it, and to be able to share words of encouragement to others, and letting them know not to give up. Not
Yes.
to, it doesn't
Yes.
mean you're not going to have difficult times, but don't give up. And we'll go from there. I'll give a definition of what grief is, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
grief could be many things to different people. It could be experienced in different ways, but grief is really about deep sorrow that's caused by someone's death.
Mm-hmm.
Similar words of grief are sorrow, misery, sadness, anguish, something that causes deep, deep, deep distress and suffering. So we're going to get into Ezioma to share her experience with it, kind of give you a bit of a background of her own grief, the journey she's had to go through, her triggers, and I call triggers things that make us remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or may make us feel down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
also she'll share her own personal growth through it, because I believe that in everything we go through in life, there's always a growth experience that we encounter as well. So um, definitely we miss our loved ones. We don't want things to happen to anybody. And
Mm-hmm.
grief is not just through death, it could be through so many other different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Divorce, losing a
Yeah.
job, but
Mm-hmm.
it all varies, and it also depends on how people manage it. So Azi, I'll hand it over to you. Let's give them a little bit of context about your background and
Mm-hmm.
what our goal is for today, right? So
Yes,
yeah.
sure. So, I guess jump into my story. My very first experience with grief was with the passing of my dad. That happened in 2015. So I believe I was 20 years old at that time. I was in my second year or maybe third year. Yeah, second or third year of college, my university. Education pursuits. So I honestly remember the night my aunt told me, and so your sister, I
Mm-hmm.
remember she came in with, her husband, Uncle Chooks, and your mom. They all came into where I was and told me. And it was such a big shock because my dad wasn't sick. He had chronic health conditions like hypertension and high cholesterol and stuff like that, but he wasn't sick. It wasn't like he was in and out of the hospital or anything like that. So it came as a huge shock to our family, both immediate family, extended family. His his colleagues, because he was a lawyer. So the people that he works with, the people whose livelihood, depend on his
On
business, his
him.
law
Yeah.
profession. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also the oldest child in his
Mm-hmm.
family, and his dad passed away when he was relatively young. So he was not only a father for our immediate family, but he was also like the father role for his siblings too,
And his
So it
mother
was,
too.
and his mother, yes. So it was
Mm-hmm.
such a huge shock, um, for every single one of us. Um, and I feel like in the beginning, after it happened, I don't think I quite, even if I knew it happened, I don't think I quite, I don't think it quite sank in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until I went back home for the funeral, that summer in Nigeria. And I remember when I saw the coffin that had his
Mm-hmm.
body for the first time. That's when I broke down. I really could not believe it, because it's one thing to know that, oh, okay, someone has died, you never see them again. In the beginning, it
Mm-hmm.
feels like maybe they traveled somewhere, that, okay, maybe they
Yes.
went on a long trip and they're gonna come back. But then when you're now in the same room with them and they are inside a box,
Yeah.
that is a whole different experience. So for me, that was um really eye-opening. Things really began to sink in after that experience. So, and it was very hard for my mom as well, and all of my
Yeah.
siblings. My youngest sister was 7 years old at the time, so it was just terrible. So I went for the funeral, came back to school in 2015, the fall of 2015, and I continued my education. Funny enough, that's the semester after he passed. I actually did better in school than I did the other semester, because I feel like I channeled my grief into school, like the sadness and the angst I had. I poured that into like my studies.
Why do you think
And
that happened?
I think for me it was a form of escape,
Okay.
because it happened so suddenly. My biggest question was why. I
Why?
just could not understand it. I just could not explain it. It was just this thing that no one saw coming, and had never experienced something like that ever in my life. So I think the one thing I knew how to do well was school, and I
Yeah.
just gave my all into that.
So so school was your escape. It's not
Yes.
like you were searching in there to figure out the why, because of course you're
Yes.
studying,
Mhm.
you're in a medical field, right? Where you're trying to
Yes.
understand different things,
Yes.
but it was really just to escape from just
Escape.
everything else. Escape. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes. Um, yeah, so that was it. And then later on, towards the spring of 2016, I now experienced something as I've also never experienced. So I'm a Christian, right? I was raised
Hmm.
in the Methodist Church, and I've believed in God in all of my life. I've not doubted God's existence or the goodness of God. But for the very first time in my life, I was legit angry at God.
Yeah.
Funny enough,
Yeah.
like right after he passed, I wasn't, I still believed God. I trusted God. I was almost optimistic that things would be fine. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
with grief is, as you live life and you continue to feel the absence, of
Mm-hmm.
that person, the ramifications of not having them, you begin to like, for me, I was just angry. Anger was
Yeah.
literally one of the first. So for me, after the shock of it, right, I went into school, used that as my escape. And then the next stage I experienced was anger. And I was so angry at God. I remember going for like a conference, a Christian conference, and I broke down there, and one of the ladies I met, she asked me to repeat a statement, say something like, "Oh, I'm not angry at God," and I couldn't say it. Like I was just angry.
Mm-hmm.
I remember even being in church once, and they were preaching about one of the widows in the Bible, in the New Testament. And I think that was the first time I realized that my mom was a widow. I guess I had not even thought of the fact that
Mm-hmm.
she was. And I was just so angry. I could not believe. I was like, "Oh my gosh, my mom is a widow now." And I walked
Yeah.
out of church. I was so mad. I walked out of the sermon because I felt like he was talking about my mom,
Yeah.
even though he
Be-
wasn't, you know.
yeah. So it sounds
Um,
like you had a lot of denial up front,
yes,
even though you had seen the body, right? You've gone
yes,
through that
yes,
experience of actually coming to you, eliminating, you're no longer in shock. You now
yeah.
see that this is really real. Then you're
Mm-hmm.
still in denial because you're doing schoolwork to just get your mind
Yeah,
off of everything. And then
yeah,
slowly it creeps up on you that, daddy hasn't called.
yeah.
Your jovial dad. Then you now think of your
Mm-hmm.
mom because both of them were
Mm-hmm.
extremely close.
Yes,
And then,
yes,
just life situations going on. It then now starts to trigger a little bit more that,
yes, yes,
okay, makes sense, makes sense,
yes,
makes sense.
yes. Yes. I was so angry. Like, even during like I was still going to church, but like during worship, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't sing. I wouldn't sing. I was just very angry. But that was also a turnaround point for my relationship with God because um it was like I was mad at him, but then
Mm-hmm.
through that I really learned the purpose of God in our lives and what it means to serve God and what it means to be a Christian and how unconditional his love is for us and how unconditional our love has to be for him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So going through that stage of anger, later on I kind of understood. Later on, the whole time I was just angry that I totally thought of my dad as my dad, and all I could
Mm-hmm.
think of, like, why did you take my dad? God, why is my dad not here? But later on I now moved to and on or God opened my eyes to see that, well, yes, he was my dad, but he was multiple. He wasn't just my dad, he was also the son of God. So he was also
Mm-hmm.
God's child. He was God's son. And if God decided that it was time for him to take his son to a better place, he had every right to do that. you know. So that was something very eye-opening for me. And later on, I let it go. I trusted God. And I now moved into this new stage of, like, you know God
Acceptance
has
to
our
a
back.
certain.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
God has our
yes,
back.
yes.
God has our back. And also, because my dad was the primary financial provider for my family and even for his siblings. So there was a lot of worry about how we're going to survive financially. My mom, she worked. She was a teacher. She worked. But everything was financially was primarily my dad. So even when I started to see things unfold, I started to see us get supernatural help from very kind people. I was When he passed, I was worried, would I be able to continue to be in school here in the US? But somehow I was. So when I started to see all those things, it definitely did help reassure me that God was with us. Like, there are very clear miracles that could only be explained by God.
Mm-hmm.
So I just yeah, it was really a journey for me to see my dad not just as my dad, but as an individual that God brought to
Mm-hmm.
this world for a
Well, for a
purpose.
purpose. Yeah, yeah.
And now it was, God has decided to take him back. So yeah, so that was that with my dad. So my dad passed 2015, right? So I graduated
Mm-hmm.
college 2017. Yeah, that was great. So talking about triggers,
Mm-hmm.
with death, or with grief, like, milestones are always a double-edged sword, always bittersweet, because on the one hand you're celebrating, like for me, my college graduation. I was very happy that I graduated college. By grace of God, my mom was able to make it, but
Mm-hmm.
I was also just in shock too that my dad was not there,
Was not there.
because
Yeah.
every single time when I was leaving the country to come here, my dad was the one that took me to the airport. When I came home in 2014, my dad was the one. No matter what he's doing,
Picked, he picked you up. Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
No matter what my
So
dad
his
is doing,
presence was missed
yes,
to his,
yes,
and was another
yes.
trigger for you. Wow.
Yes,
Wow. Wow.
absolutely. So, because even when I was applying for college, it was his secretaries in his office that were helping me out with sending this and mailing this. So, like, he was very, very present in the journey. And I could not just
Mm-hmm.
believe that I had finally gotten to the end. I'd gotten my degree and he was not there.
Mm-hmm.
That was major for me. Um, yeah, so that was 2017. Then come 2019, spring of 2019, my mom passed. This time around, she was ill, but it was a very brief and sudden illness. She was ill for about a 2 week period. I mean, she had had like cough and she had complained of just minor cold symptoms, she had had leading up to her illness. But then it literally went from 0 to 100. You know, one day she was fine. She had maybe like a cold or cough, and the next day she was unconscious, and in the hospital. So she ended up passing. That was a huge blow as well, because for
Mm-hmm.
some reason after my dad passed, something else that I used to console myself was, I've known other friends who've lost parents,
Mm-hmm.
but for
Mm-hmm.
most people that I know, they will lose one and then they'll have the other parents who end up living for
Yeah.
a long time. So
Time.
let me
Yeah.
tell you, I was convinced that my mom was going to live to 90, and I was like, it's
Mm.
okay, she's here, she's going to experience things that my dad would have experienced. Now, so for her to pass only 4 years after,
Wow.
when she was 49 years old, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was just like,
Not too far
what?
from her 50th birthday too. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. It was just, it was crazy. But the interesting thing is that this time around, I wasn't angry at God. I had definitely learned and grown in my faith from the first time. So with my mom, it was shock and it was an unexplained sadness, but I didn't have anger. I wasn't angry at God. I wasn't, I wasn't asking why too much. I was just sad. I was heartbroken. And I guess the thing for my mom was sadness and hopelessness, because I thought, oh, okay, things are really, really bad now. Not only do we don't have our dad, we don't have our mom, and I'm the oldest child, and I'm not at home where most of my siblings are. So it was with my mom, it was just hopelessness, really, was what I
Mm-hmm.
felt. It felt like there was no hope. um but again, just like the first time, people came through for us by the grace of God. I had aunties, uncles, family members,
Yes.
really came through for us, and God showed us that he was still there in our lives, through those people.
People. So he gave you
um
vessels to be able to keep
yes,
you going
yes,
despite
yes,
the shock.
yes,
So
yes,
even though
yes,
you were sad about your mom and disappointed that she's not here, with your
yes,
own expectation of wanting her to be here for, or at least thinking she'll be here for a long time, your
yes,
dad's experience also helped you deal with hers a little bit
yes,
from the
yes,
shock, but
yes,
still felt very disappointed that,
yes,
or should you, like you use the word hopeless, that's
yes,
wow.
yes,
I've really lost both of the most important people in my life.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And then there was also the confusion of, I was not so something else that happened in 2019 was I was going to start medical school in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So, the way I was looking at it, like, this doesn't really make sense. Both of my parents are not here. I'm the oldest child, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
about to start professional school. So I'm still like a student. I don't work. I don't have money. my all of my younger siblings are obviously still in school as well. So there was
Mm-hmm.
also the confusion of like, God, what exactly is your plan? Because at first, okay, when my dad died, okay, it was bad, but my mom is here. But now that she's not here, so like, what exactly is your plan? Because I just felt so, confused, which is where the hopelessness came from. Because
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
felt
Sorry.
like I should be in a position to provide and help my siblings, but I really was not. I really was not, and there was nothing I could do about that, you know.
So asking
Um,
God what his plan was for your role
yes,
in the family,
yes,
knowing that
yes,
as an Ada and the
yes,
fact that you're the first child and both parents are gone, the expectation was that you should have some
yes,
role going forward.
yes,
Even though you are
exactly.
not ready to give that role to
Yes,
anybody at
yes,
that point,
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I after I wasn't able to go back for her funeral, unfortunately, because I was starting school, um, that summer. So I went back to school, and I moved as well to Mississippi, a whole new state. I got to meet other people. So I guess when I was coming to Mississippi was also another trigger, because for a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
classmates, they were moving with their parents. If I ask someone, "Oh, how are you planning on moving this?" Someone, "Oh yeah, my dad is coming down." Everyone's dad or mom was driving down from somewhere to help them settle in and move in and do this and do that. And I was just there by myself, like, okay, God, what is the plan? Because when I moved in for
Mm-hmm.
college, even though I didn't, my parents weren't there physically, they were both in Nigeria, but that didn't
Mm-hmm.
bother me as well because I knew they were there, So,
Mm-hmm.
but for medical
Mm-hmm.
school, it was like, not only are they not here physically, they're not even on Earth. So,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, that was it was a very, very lonely time for me.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God, I was able to start medical school, and I'm still here in school, thriving by the grace of God. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something I'm very grateful for. And not only me, my siblings, my younger sister, she graduated with her law degree the year my mom passed in 2019. She went to law school in Nigeria, and she's now a full-fledged lawyer. um my sister after her is in medical school. My brother is here for college. My
Mm-hmm.
sister only just got here for college recently. So everyone is doing
It's
well.
thriving,
Yes, yes. And that too is a testament to the grace of God, because there is no way we would have been able to do all of that by ourselves, because I said
Mm-hmm.
we are not grown enough to have jobs and
Yes. Yes.
to
Yeah.
take care of ourselves. We're literally all like little kids, basically, trying to figure out, life and get
Mm.
through school. So, so yeah, so that's
So
basically
that's where the
my
support of
journey.
family comes into play,
Absolutely,
right? Uh,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. There's no way I would be where I am without my aunties, my
Mhm.
uncles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, um, absolutely.
Now that I
So,
think back,
mhm,
I'm even when you talked about going into college, right?
mhm.
Even though they were not there, but their presence, maybe through phone calls, how
Yes,
did it go? How did this? How
yes,
did that?
yes,
And then
yes,
not necessarily having that when you're going into medical school.
yes,
Even though
yeah,
they're not there, everybody else's
yeah,
friends are there. Then it really
yeah,
settles in that
yeah,
like you said, even though they are not only are not they not available, but they're not even on this earth to be able to even make that
exactly.
phone call if they
Yes,
knowing
yes,
that they would have been able
yes,
to make that phone call if they were still here.
yes,
So yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because even when I was in college, so they weren't there when I moved in, but they both of
Mhm.
them came to visit me like a month or
Mhm.
two after. So that was also nice to have that. Um, But yeah, but for medical school, it was, it was nothing.
Yeah.
But my aunt and her kids were able to come from my white coat ceremony. So that was
Mm-hmm.
really, really nice. I was so grateful for that. Like so, so grateful to at least have that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was really great.
With our name
Um,
school making a lot of
yes.
noise in the background. My sister's kids love their
Yeah.
Auntie Easy, that's
Yes,
for
they
sure,
do.
especially the
Yes, they do.
youngest. So
Yeah,
even
yeah,
how even my sister's nephews and nieces also do the
yeah,
same. So
yeah,
it's yeah, it's
yeah.
a loving environment to see.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm, mhm,
okay. So how would you so right now where you are and
mhm,
how would you say your personal what have been your personal growth? I mean, I know you've talked throughout your relationship with God being
mhm,
an important aspect,
mhm,
family, dealing with triggers and all that good stuff, but what
mhm,
would you say if someone were to ask you how have you grown from this experience? What would you say that
mhm,
growth is?
mhm. I would say that no matter what it is you go through in life, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And by the grace of God, we are a lot more resilient that we realize that we are. I've definitely learned that, you know, life is not life will never be simple. Life will never be without turns, without challenges, without things that would, things that you just did not expect. But we should not fear those things. We should not fear the unknown, no matter
Hmm.
how no matter how grave, and how terrible it can be. The truth is that with God by your side, um you can literally conquer and live through anything. And for me, it's just the understanding that life is temporary. Like, as much as our troubles on this earth can seem so all encompassing, and for me, sometimes school can get so like demanding, and or the things that you don't have, or the things you're working towards. um all those things at the end of the day are temporary. They're important. They're going to build character, and it's important to, have goals and things that you want to achieve. But at the end of the day, like, you know, this too shall pass. Things
Yes.
with the passing of time, things will get better, things will change, and there will be a new challenge for you to face. So no matter how terrible it gets, just tell yourself this too shall pass. And God is also there with you for sure. Like, God,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing I've seen is that God has shown me that I can't put him in a box. I can't predict him,
Mm-hmm.
because God
Mm-hmm.
has come through. God comes through for me in ways that are beyond my imagination, really.
Yep.
Like, truly beyond my imagination. Like, in my first year of medical school, I would have random people send me checks. Like, I would need money for something. I don't know who to ask. I don't know what to do. I can't call my mom. I can't call my dad. And then some random person will call me and send me money. Like, my tuition, two of my dad's friends randomly paid off my tuition my first year of medical school. So, like, and these are things that there's no way I would have planned these things, you
Yep.
know. So one thing I've definitely learned is that God will come through for you through ways that are beyond your imagination. And
Mm.
no matter how bad things get, you can get through it. You can get through it, truly, truly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you build new memories, right? So the
Yes,
goal
yes.
is not to continue to dwell on those old memories. Yes, you have the memories with your parents. They're never going to go away. They're always going to be close
Mm-hmm.
to your heart. But you're also
Mm-hmm.
building new memories as you go through experiences that would
Yes.
also lift you up, right? And
Yes.
keep you
Absolutely.
encouraged. Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good, good, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I think one thing I would like to say, grief is a journey.
Yes.
It's something that would unfold in different stages of the life that you live. So it's not, you can't cry it all in one day. It's not
Mm-mm,
something you can
mm-mm.
do all in one day. As you go through the different stages of life, you experience it differently depending on what you're
Mm,
doing at that time.
fine.
you know
Yep.
I was talking to someone else when my mom passed. One of the pastors in my church, she told me about her experience with losing her mom, and she talked about how when she had kids, she re-experienced the grief of having her mom
Yes,
pass
yes,
in a
yes.
different way, because
Way, yeah.
her mom wasn't there, to see her kids and be there for her
Mm,
when she gave birth and all those things. And it just really showed me that, like, with every stage of life, it's going to be something new. It's going to be something.
yes.
Oh, they are not here for this. Oh, they are not here for this. Or they
Mm-hmm,
are not here for that.
mm-hmm.
So it's just something that you have to. That's why you just really have to hold on to God, and just have to take it day by day, take it season
Yeah,
by season.
yeah.
Because if you dwell on it so much, the pain and anguish will just
It will break
it's
you.
very exactly it's
Mm-hmm.
very, very powerful. Like, grief can be
Yeah,
very, very powerful. So it's just best to realize, have a very good understanding of what you control and what you don't control, and don't crucify yourself for the things that you can't control. Just
exact.
take it
Well
one day
said.
at a
At
time,
the time. Well said.
because there are just
Yeah.
some things that you cannot change, you
Mm.
know.
And it's
So,
a form of trauma, right? Losing your parents is
oh,
a form of trauma.
absolutely.
And so with
Absolutely.
trauma, you just have to, I won't say you have to figure out how to deal with it. There's so many ways to be able to deal with it. Like you just mentioned, your relationship with God is really, really has really been the forefront in guiding you, right, through the different
Yes.
stages of grief,
Yes.
whether it be denial, anger, bargaining with God, like, why, keep my mom
Yes.
till she's 90, right?
Yes.
Well, even
Yes.
though, yeah, um, just the whole depression and acceptance,
Mhm.
that other
Mhm.
people have
Mhm.
to go through in one way or the other.
Mhm.
And maybe you've
Mhm.
experienced in your own way, but
Yes.
yeah, I totally agree with the point of you're going to be constantly going through these emotions with that trauma.
Yes.
As long as you
Yes.
know how to manage it, you recognize the trigger and you get
Yes.
the support that you need, right?
Oh, yes.
And
Yes. Absolutely.
and learning not to, knowing that you have people, right? So if
Mhm.
you want to vent, if you want to cry, if you want
Oh,
to
yes.
whatever, you have people to talk to.
Mhm. Mhm.
In your case, you had your religion, you also had, you know, family and friends and your dad's
Yes.
friends, your mom's
Yes.
friends, your
Yeah.
family to be able to
Yes. Yes.
support you and your siblings
Yes.
through it. And sometimes strangers that have nothing to do
Oh,
with
yes.
even anything that's
Yeah.
going on, right?
Yes.
That don't know
Yes.
it, but I call it
Yes.
God using vessels to be able to help
Yes.
support you. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah. Actually, yeah. To speak on the support thing, you're so
Mm,
right. For me, like you said, a stranger. That was when I started medical school. The day before my white coat, one of my classmates, who was kind of like a stranger at that time because we literally just started school, so we didn't really know each other. She was the one person that I confided in, because she was just, I guess she was talking about how her family was coming, and she was asking me. And the one thing I did after my mom and even my dad, when a lot of people ask me, I always give vague responses about my
mm,
parents or whatnot, because I find that I'm still not at that stage where I can talk about them in depth without
mm,
becoming very emotional, so.
mm-hmm,
And this was the year my mom passed, so she asked me, and I guess at some with her, she seemed like someone I could trust, so I just
mm,
told her what was. And this was like in a fast food restaurant. And I started crying, so I had to go sit down somewhere and
mm.
dry my tears, and just talking to her, even though at that point we didn't know each other well. Just talking to her then and having her listen, it was such a very much comforting for me, very, very much
Yeah.
comforting for me. So yeah, talking to people absolutely
Yeah, it's
helps.
very important because it helps you
Yes,
release. It
yes,
helps you um sometimes by you doing that, you get to talk to people who are able to encourage you or give you a different perspective of things
yes,
that you may
yes,
not have necessarily thought about.
yes.
I just think it's cathartic to begin with,
Oh,
right?
yes,
I don't think
yes,
God wants us to be able to hold things in, right? We should also
yes.
be able to talk to Him and say, God, I don't know how to handle this day, or talk to a friend. Today I'm extremely heavy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Either pray for me or tell me
Yes.
something or make me laugh or do something just to be able
Yes.
to get through it. So yeah,
Yes.
I
Yes.
truly believe being
Absolutely.
able to talk to somebody is very, very important. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Very much so. Very much so.
And then for those who either they don't have the support or it's still too heavy for them to handle, because everybody
Mm-hmm.
level of handling trauma or stress or disappointments they all vary, right? I might
Yes.
be able to handle it, or somebody else may be able to handle it. I can't handle it, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
knowing that, okay, I can't handle it, this is becoming a burden on me where I can't get up in the morning, I'm extremely depressed. Please,
Mm-hmm.
folks, get support, get therapy,
Yes.
talk to your doctor,
Yes.
talk to your friends. Don't feel like you can do it all by yourself. Like I keep saying,
Absolutely.
life is meant to be lived with others, not by
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, right? We're not supposed to
Yes.
carry burdens on ourselves and on our shoulders. Even your shoulder self will get tired. Your body gets
Yes.
tired. So you need
Yeah.
to have a way to be able to release it, either going to therapy and just talking it out and giving
Mm-hmm.
you perspective and direction. It's important for some people who are very religious. Religion is important. For those who are not religious,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say because I'm not in that headspace, but I guess
Yeah.
therapy would be the next best thing that I
Yes.
can offer to you
Yeah.
than anything else. So yeah. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Auntie Hazy, anything
Mm-hmm.
else you want to share with our audience?
Um, I think one thing I'll say, you're not alone. You're not
Mm-hmm.
alone. The things we've emphasized, family, friends, just having a community of people that you can trust and lean on, and it's very important. And be patient with yourself, you be patient with yourself. It would take time. It would take time, but you are not alone. There are other people who are going through grief. There are other people who are living with grief.
Mm.
But you are not alone, and you can do it. You can do it. So
Thank you, thank you, thank
hmm
you. I appreciate
hmm
you, lady. You've done a great job.
thank
Um,
you.
so we're at the conclusion of our wonderful conversation. So I just want to say thank you to our guests for their time and listening to this, and for my own. Well, thank you for my audience, not guests, for listening and taking the time to listen. And then thank you to my darling Auntie Izzy for making
Thank
time to
you.
be able to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I mean, the importance for us, as she's emphasized, is just being patient with yourself,
Yes.
leveraging your community, your
Yes.
support system. But for those of us or those people out there who've not experienced anything like that, let's make sure we have empathy for others, because you never know
Yes.
what
Yes.
somebody is going through and what they're
Oh,
dealing with, right?
absolutely.
So
Mm-hmm.
rather than asking a whole bunch of questions, let them tell you when they're ready to tell you, but just be there for
Yes.
other people and support
Yes.
them and encourage them when you see things. You may suspect something may be off, but you don't know what it is. You don't need to know. You just need to
Yes.
be there to love our neighbors as ourselves, right? Be there for one another. Even if you don't know what to say to them, even if you know what's going on and you don't know what to say,
Yeah.
praying for them is important. Just letting them know that you're there for them is important. So, um, just be encouraging and show empathy. That's the best thing
Absolutely.
that I can actually say, because you really don't know what people have gone through and what they've
Yeah,
experienced.
absolutely.
So guys,
Absolutely.
share your thoughts on this episode. Be safe out there. Be healthy. Be warm, because our weather is a bit crazy all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just want to say thanks, Az, for really. I know it's not easy to be able to share these experiences, but I know
Mm-hmm.
that by sharing, we're helping somebody else, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's the whole value of this platform, is how do we share our knowledge, our experiences to be able to help others. So thank you from the
Absolutely.
bottom of my heart for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.